Hello and welcome to Candy's tutorials. This is where I will be going over how to build a garage kit, resin kit, whatever you want to call it, from beginning to end. This is what most of the time they initially look like, just a bunch of pieces, and this is what I hopefully will make it into. Bam! So anyways, let's get started. Here are the ones that I have completed in my wonderful IKEA display case. Ooh, just built this sucker a little while ago. And this right here is my workspace. It's just a little nook and cranny underneath the stairs, but I love it. It's got a nice bright light. To continue in here, I have set up all of the things that you will need to make one. First of all, I will start with some sandpaper. I have 600 grit, 400 grit, move stuff out of the way, 800 grit, and 1000 grit. No apparent order, no apparent reason. Then we've got some different putties. Not exactly sure what they're called. Anyways, this is the typical red Bondo stuff that you can buy at any Walmart. Most of the time it's in the automotive department. It's really works really well for air bubbles, things like that. These two I like to use for seams. And this stuff I use for really large seams when I screw up and I break things. Anyways, over here I've got some smaller paintbrushes that I normally use for eyes, smaller details that I can't really use for my airbrush. And then I've also got pins. Use it to pin joints, things like that. Just like on this kit, you can rip off her arm, except it's not ripping off. There you go. There's a pin right there. And so they stick together. Anyways, and then we've got some primer right here, just so the paint adheres a little bit better to the resin. And then tape, essential when you're airbrushing. I didn't use it too much when I was hand painting. And then also some masking, Neo, I don't know. I just use it when sometimes the tape can't get into the really small joints. And then some thinner and the paint. I use Tamiya acrylics. Don't need to. There's lots of other kinds, but that's just what I like. And when I hand paint, I use Duncan. They actually use this for plates and things like that. Ceramics. And then a good kind of glue. I like this goop stuff because it's fun. And then we've got petroleum jelly. I use that for when I'm puttying. We've got my Dremel. I use it for lots of different things, but I'll go over that during the tutorial. Some Future Floor Wax for some shiny goodness. Ooh, as I drop things. And then we continue over, and this is the piece de resistance. This is my airbrush. I love it. It is an Iwata Revolution, and my compressor is hiding down there, but I'll show you that later. So I've also got some files right here, an X-Acto knife, some tweezers, and some pliers. Probably forgot a couple other things, but I'll go along the tutorial and we'll find some new things along the way. So now comes prepping the kit for paint. I'm only going to show you on a couple of pieces, but I've got a big penguin thing here that is used kind of for her base, a foot, well, a shoe, and her chest and her back. And from what you can tell, obviously this should not be here right here, and this little piece shouldn't. If you're not sure about what you should be taking off, make sure you look at the directions. Most kits will have them when you come. They are in Japanese, but you can tell by the pictures pretty much what you need to do. More on the back. If you scan it into the computer, you can also find a program that will decipher it. So, with the pliers, I'm going to take off these pieces. You don't want to go too close because it's better safe than sorry, and whatever you can't get with the pliers you can always get with the files or sandpaper. So there's still quite a large chunk left where it used to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my X-Acto knife. Don't put it out too far, or else you're looking for disaster. And then just take off a little bit. Like I said, don't go too close. You can always sandpaper it later on. And just clean up the piece. The reason I do this is because if you want to sandpaper it all, it'll take a really long time because of how fine the sandpaper is. So next comes sanding. You want to start off with your roughest grit. For me, that would be the 400 grit. Can't really tell, but what you want to do before you start sanding is you actually want to wet it. I normally keep something like this near me. So wet it down. Now the reason behind this is that the resin is not good for you, and you don't want it to go airborne. So by doing this, it'll save you a lot of dust. So you just want to gently go over the piece. I mean, don't be too rough, or else, like I said, with the pliers, you could damage it, and then you'd have to putty it. More effort, more work. And you just want to keep sanding until you can feel it's fairly smooth. You don't want to go too much with the 400 grit, because that's the whole reason why I have the other grits, is that I can do better work and I can resculpt things if the sanding kind of takes out the definition of curves and things like that. So yeah, like I said, you want to slowly progress to the finer grits, and I think that's about all the time I have, so I'm going to continue this a little bit later on. Resin kits do take quite a while. I mean, each piece probably takes, I don't know, even just for prep, probably takes me about 10 minutes, and there's, I don't know how many pieces for this kit, at least 30. But I will continue, and I hope you stay tuned. So this is part 1 of my tutorial. Thanks for watching!